I think that's a powerful message, because I think that well, kind of on the flip side, I'm probably more like you than anything, where I'm that guy where I just need 5 minutes, and I just try to look for every silver lining every day about everything. But my grandmother was one of my best friends, and I loved her very, very much. I mean, she passed away, I don't know, might even been 20 years ago now, but I remember being in business, young in business, and I'm just getting my business going, and I'm trying to get it moving in the right direction, and I got momentum, and we're building a big old agency, and it was great. And then my grandmother got sick, and of course that was devastating for me.
Yeah.
But the way that I got past it, and that I think it really worked well with me, is I just tried to compartmentalize the whole situation, and I tried to compartmentalize my life, in the sense that I did go visit her, and I spent time with her in the hospital, and I did, visit her as much as I possibly could, and I had conversations, and I was there for her for an hour or two in the morning, and then I would leave there, and then I would completely shut that feeling off. And I don't know if it's just, maybe I just have this gene where I can shut it off, because some people can't. They cannot shut off a negative, bad, horrifying thing that's happening in their life. And but I was able to shut it off, and because I shut it off, I was able to leave there and then go prospect. I was able to leave there and go write sales and go make money and build a business, because again, my family was counting on me making money. And I always used to tell my agents that were having, going through some challenges. I mean, I get it. Every situation is different. Like you said, my grandmother was older, so she lived a long life. I mean, you lose somebody that's your same age, I mean, or a child or something like that, we're talking whole different ball game here. So every situation is different, but I try to look at every situation and say, okay, how can I compartmentalize it in my life? So that way, because I always said my grandmother would not have wanted me to ruin my life, to ruin my business, to ruin everything that I've built. She would never want me. Like if I was to talk to my grandmother, she'd be like, go build it. I'm old. I passed away. I'm gone now. You can't, spend every day worrying about me. I'm not. So I used to have this conversation, like actually talking to her in my own mind. I used to talk to her and have a conversation. Like, what would she want for me? So that kind of got me past it, because I said, she would not, like, your grandfather would not want you to hurt your, like, if you were depressed every single day for the next 365 days on his account, he would be upset with you. He would be mad at you. He would be like, what are you doing? He would be like, what are you doing? Get past it. Go. You're building something great. You're changing the world. You're doing something special. Go do that, because I love you. And don't worry about me. I'm in heaven now, man. I'm with the Father, and I got, beauty all around me. So I'm good. Go live your life. Go do great things. Bring more people to the Lord. Do your job. Be great. And so I think that's a thought of how I was able to get through some of those things, because I know you talk a lot about mental health and religion, and how that's kind of like, is that something you talk about sometimes? Like, just how religion and mental health, like, they're intertwined, and we got to learn that we can be helped in our mental health if we just maybe get a little bit closer.
Yes, but I don't use the word religion, to be honest with you, because I just feel like there's so many people that have been burned by the church. I am all about a relationship with God. And that's why I'm all about having people read the word, because people are just showing up to church on Sunday to check a box off, and to have this man or woman from the pulpit tell them what's what. And, what about that guy and all his flaws and all his sins? And, so many of them they got all their own secrets going on, right? And we're just expecting this one person to be the one that, like, sows into us, instead of ourselves reading the Bible for ourselves, having the relationship for ourselves. And I've toured all over this country, and I've been to churches everywhere. And when people are like, oh, I've been burned by the church, I'm like, no, you weren't. You were burned by people, because this church is different than this church is different than this church. And all the denominations confuse me, because I can go to a Lutheran church over here and a Lutheran church over here, and they're different. It's a different pastor. It's a different board running the church. And so I try to stay off the religion thing. But yes, like, absolutely, there is so much to being in a relationship with God and prayer and mental health. I mean, yes, my faith is like everything to me. I don't know how people get through the hard stuff. I don't know how people get through the loss. You know, you said getting grandpa's up in heaven. Like, I wouldn't know how to get through that if that wasn't really my deep belief of like, you know what, I'm going to see my grandpa again and he's okay. So absolutely 100% they go together. And the root of all the coaching and everything that I do at the end of the day just goes back to the word of God, goes back to the kingdom. I also don't like the religion label, because I'll be honest with you, I follow the teachings in the Bible of like how Jesus tells you to treat people. And there's a lot of people out there with the Christian religious label, and they don't do that. They're judgmental and they're horrible, and they're not treating each other good. And I'm like, I don't know what Bible you read, because Jesus was really easy. Like, just love your neighbor as yourself, love God, like the end, right? It's really, you're just mucking it up. And I feel like, so I stay away from the religious term because of that, you know. But yes, absolutely, fearing to faith for sure. I appreciate you asking me about that. But I've seen people born and raised in the church, hurt by the church, but then they can have their own relationship. They can read the Bible for themselves. They can read those scriptures, interpret their own meaning instead of relying on a man or a woman to tell them what it means. I stay out of it. God was really good to me. It's like, I'm never going to make you interpret scripture for anyone. I just want you to encourage people to be in the word. That's it. I don't have to interpret or tell you what it means. That's on you and the Lord. I mean, I can tell you what I think he told me with this verse, but that's for you.
But he could give different messages to different people in different seasons of their life, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is the power. That's the power of God, right? And so, but I think what you're saying is right on. And this was for me personally, this was kind of the biggest turnoff for me with most organized religion. And so I really totally get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, because it makes a lot of sense. I remember, because I've been, thousands of appointments throughout my career in business, and sitting down with people that profess to be such hardcore Christians, hardcore churchgoers, and then you saw their life, and you saw how they treated people, or they treated their kids, or they treated their just even me as a guest in their home, just trying to do my job, right? I'm a financial guy. I'm just trying to give some ideas. I'm completely nice. Yeah. And then you see these people treat me so bad, so negatively. So, and then just throughout the whole presentation, they would be so negative and so, just not nice people. Not that, if you don't buy from me, that's okay. I'm not worried about it, but still, at the end of the day, we should be just showing fellow human beings dignity and respect, and be nice to another human being that's in your home, right? And you see some of these people, and so I, again, as a young kid in business that's trying to get my business going, and I saw so many people, and I said, wait a minute, I've never read the Bible cover to cover. Before I listened to audio,
maybe you'll be
Bible
inspired.
On audio. I don't know. Maybe I'll be inspired right now. I don't like reading. I'll probably do an audio book of the entire Bible, but the reading is so difficult because I just fall asleep after 2 pages. So, and that's any book, by the way. So, but the bottom line is that I was, as a young kid, I was, I of course I had that foundation of church, and I had the foundation of God, and my grandmother and my mother were very, they always instilled God in my life, but it was more kind of what you're talking about, that relationship with God, doesn't mean that I have to go to this building and be with God, right? I can be in my home and I can be with God. I can be with a book and I can be with God. And so what you're saying just makes so much sense to me.
If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.